What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the AstraVision show, where you come to
vibe with the tribe.
For those of you who are new here, my name is Malik Harris. I am a writer and director primarily. That's directing film, that's directing comic book, directing all sorts of different artistic projects as we attempt to bring our shared universe, our AstraVision universe, the SNi universe, to life. You can see we have a bunch of comics up here from just different stories. We have a fantasy world, a superhero world, and a sci-fi world. They're all connected by this intergalactic space force, supposed to keep the characters separate, but occasionally you have characters who escape over from the fantasy world to the hero world, sci-fi world, the hero world, etc., and it gets crazy. We have a bunch of crossovers and things. So
my name is Mackie Totocini. I also do a lot of the storyboards. I'm writing at the moment, getting new into that. I also help the concept of creating of characters. I've also done audio and on-set production and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Everything in the creation process. Originally, we started out doing like more filmmaking stuff, and now we're in the comic book scene, and we'll talk about all that stuff. This series specifically stood out to us. Some of you guys have seen our other League videos, where we're diving into the League of Legends universe, just watching the cinematics or watching the behind-the-scenes videos. So, welcome back to you guys. We appreciate you guys. Great community so far. We love it. We love the lore. We love all the background.
Oh yeah.
But this is very special because I feel like this is exactly what we're in the process of doing. We are a publishing company, and we are creating a universe, so that bridging the rift aspect just really appealed to us because we're in the process of coming from film, converting that into the comic book world, so we can expand and then taking the comic book hopefully to the future into animation and everything like that. So yeah, man, I'm super excited. We're not going to talk your guys' ears off.
No,
we're going to jump into this docu-series, and then we will pause it throughout and stuff like that, and then go in more depth.
Have little bullet points here and there.
Yes. Let's get into this. I mean, you don't understand. I've been waiting to watch this series for a while. It's been like a good month. And I was like, we got to react to this.
I honestly thought like Bridging the Rift was like some sort of like comparing notes from the game to the series. But now it's actually the whole ordeal that
caption was crazy.
Made up to it, then it's pretty cool. You get to see how they actually made this show how it is.
The thing is that you play these characters over and over and over. Hundreds, in some cases, thousands of hours people sit with these characters.
I'm actually just messing around in the jungler right now.
That looks like my exact keyboard.
Mordekaiser. Because he's heavy metal.
Mordekaiser for sure.
They're always in this one map, in this one environment. And you start to wonder, like, where do they sleep?
Sleep?
What do they eat? What is
now
their
that's deep.
Normal life like?
You actually want to be and know the characters like super depth.
Yeah.
We knew Arcane was going to be the very first deep story expression of League of Legends. There's enough video games where the audience asked for a movie or a show for years and years and years, and then they make it, and then it sucks. And then guess what? People stop asking.
Big facts.
We were afraid of that. We were like, if we make something that isn't at least good, then we're really, really harming the League IP.
Facts. Big facts, Christian. Big facts.
Especially with this much this much
fandom
people behind it.
Yeah.
That love and cherish it and support it. Yeah.
No, seriously.
It's a big plate to kind of just put on yourself and the people like that.
Trying to wrap up season 1. This is Echo was
Without hair.
Just without hair, right? I forgot.
Without hair.
Yeah.
She will be the worst kept secret of the show. Everyone will know it's Echo when they see him with the mask on. I mean,
You think?
yeah, of course.
In the trailer, I've seen like several videos, people analyzing it, and they're like, "Oh, this
there already
character
people that say that it's
is
Echo.
absolutely not Echo."
Well,
And I
but
was
okay,
like,
so the second they see that he has the pocket watch,
true,
everyone
yeah.
knows he's like the the boy who shattered time. I mean,
That's right.
Spoilers.
yeah, you did. I remember you showed me that we built like a special rig on Jinx. You can kind of control her face from looking more childish to like adult.
Okay, wait, hold on. The amount of sticky notes and notes this man had on his wall
That's a lot.
very realistic. I don't even know. Just right here, I have personally. I'm writing on this notebook. Max is writing on this one, and I'll probably put some things on this just because it's so nice to be able to like spread out your ideas and your concepts. Like I have one for like YouTube show things, one for League, and then I always have some type of note space for my own separate stories where, you know, sometimes we're watching a show and it brings up an idea in my head and I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. Why have I never thought about where my character, if he drinks tea or if he drinks coffee, you know what I mean? And I'll write something down and then build upon it later. So yeah, man, this is very nostalgic to a lot of our creative processes.
Yes. So when we first got the first read of Jinx, the idea was to try to connect her somehow visually to what she was as a kid. Rounder face, bigger eyes, sadder look. We didn't want the typical like crazy girl laughing around like the Joker and just making no sense. We really wanted to make her feel like deranged and emotionally affected by what she went through as a kid.
I think we were a little bit worried about, you know, when we get to the adult Jinx, that we just lose that, like, I don't know, that beautiful little soul that just almost just tries to prove to her older sister, like, hey, like, I can do this, you know, like, believe in me.
The amount of work that they're putting into the eyes definitely paid off.
Yeah. That doesn't offer us something personal to explore. I think for the story that we have, it's a story about family, it's a story about siblings that have a hard time forgiving each other. It's a world of technology kind of taking over and us feeling like we're losing control over it. I think that those are just things that we as people think about and care about, you know. I think we want to also ask some questions that we think should be asked without necessarily giving you the answer, but at least asking like, hey, does a person, you know, like Jinx deserve a second chance?
Big questions raised in this show.
Can a monster ever be forgiven? I don't know.
You figure it out.
What is something that if you love it, a lot of people would love it? That's where you really should go hard. And I think that's what we tried with Arcane, you know. We'll see, but I think it has potential.
I love it. The amount of storyboarding notes and like design character notes they have is kind of crazy. Like I thought I had a lot of design notes, and we've been working on our shared universe since I was fucking 9, so like 15 plus years. And then we got Sirius like 15 years old, or I got Sirius and then brought it to everyone like 20 years old.
Skinks. I've had them for 20.
It's crazy.
3 years now.
That's a long time.
I had them when I was 15 and definitely old enough to make that kind of commitment.
So we're talking the same numbers.
The thing when you work on story is that just generally speaking, it never stops. I feel like I just have voices in my head that argue a lot, and every now and again, something they say makes sense, and then you write it down. And that's basically that's how the characters happen. These are
damn the figures.
Legends
Oh my
characters mostly.
God.
I was original creative on like Riven up there, and
I'm gonna need
Ari, and let's see, Wukong, Nautilus.
Is that you?
Lee Sin.
Damn.
Ooh, Lee Sin.
Just
the blind
that
fighter.
guy I thought was cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Brahm's been the GOAT lately.
Yeah.
I have to.
So I did go to school for writing. You know, I went out to LA. One of the things that I stumbled upon was a truly bare bones, desperate sounding Craigslist post for a video game startup.
Damn.
My first and consistent reaction to that was this company has no chance.
Wow.
I started playing in beta, and I found the job offering to work in customer support right on Craigslist, which led me to be interviewed by Alex.
Yep. For the record.
I gotta start checking Craigslist, man.
It was just really fun because it felt like there was kind of like the fingerprint of the.
Well, you gotta be in LA to do those Craigslist. Maybe you might get something out here.
You can just kind of tell people are just enjoying making these characters.
Early Champ concept meetings were so fun. We
hell
only
is
had the
that?
one conference room, and it would just be everyone at the company who liked that, who was enthusiastic about it, just comes in and you'd show up with something, right? You'd be like, here's this sweet art that I found, or here's this idea that I just jotted down. How do we turn that into a champion? I think the reason that we focused on Jinx was because...
So dark.
I don't know, Jinx just always had this spirit at the company. Katie D'Souza did this, it wasn't a sketch, it was like a full concept of what she called Psycho Arsenal.
Dang.
It was
Straight
not
from the
so
jump, she
different,
was already
honestly,
like that.
from what Jinx
Pretty
looks like
cool.
right now, you know, the long pigtails and just kind of like guns all over the place. I mean, everyone just fell in love with it immediately.
Vi and Jinx were characters that Alex and I always really liked.
Bravo, sis.
We worked on them together on
Damn.
the different kind of teams. Alex was working on like the characters themselves, like their creative, their voiceover lines with, you know, other writers.
She's such a loser, always ready to cry.
And I worked on the music and then the cinematic on Jinx. So on the, I want to try something fun right now. So fun should have some kind of spike up, you know, like the screechy.
Okay, I'll try. Come on, shoot faster, just a little bit of energy.
Oh, get Jinx. We haven't seen this cinematic yet. Or I haven't.
Damn.
And you know, when Christian
shit.
made Get Jinxed, that was,
Wow.
you know, the most storytelling I think we'd seen in a video at that point.
Arcane started when Alex and I sat down together and were thinking what the devil we should be doing next.
Riot in general kind of struggled to put out like long-form narrative content. Our goal was to have deeper storytelling, right? To not just do video game action. Or as we at the company tend to call it, fight
Twisted
porn.
Fate, that was a good one.
I don't know if we call it that anymore, but that's what it always was. I just always had this sense of obligation to the players, you know. It just felt like we created these characters and the players answered us by spending so much time with them and loving them, and it just felt like they deserved to have better stories.
Whenever Jinx kills someone, she actually gets kind of like amped up. If basically the promise is
It
like
would be nice to find some kind of thread, some sort of like emotional question thread.
we were just kind of developed over the years. Animation, music. Sounds dumb. Building characters, stories, and
Oh, I can't wait to get to that one too.
go deep on it.
Curse Mummy.
On the Imagine Dragons music video for Warriors.
Magic Dragons.
This
That's
whole
it,
time, I
yeah.
thought it was Fortige. That's crazy. Fortige? That was a good music, yeah, the Mad Dragon. I didn't know they worked with them
These
multiple
beautiful
times
visuals,
before
super
this.
artistic and everything.
The
It just
show.
kind of always clicked, you know?
Damn, we haven't seen this either.
If there's any superpower that we had in the beginning to make Arcane a thing, it was whether or not we could really unleash the potential of Fortige.
Kind of nice to kind of work with other people too, other than me and you working together and collabing and looking at each other's stories. It's also nice to kind of get an outsourced perspective from other people's point of view and seeing things that they see and instead of what you see in your stories and you creating stuff. So it's also kind of cool to kind of expand on that,
Yeah.
which I very like and I would like to do with more.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel that. Cause there's like, it's weird because there's like steps in it. It's almost like with phases. Like at a certain point, I don't like people seeing what's going on because I realize it disrupts your vision.
Because the
Yeah.
2D effects are done
But at a certain point when it's like, okay,
12
the concept
image
art.
by second, then and the animation it's 24 like all the movie. So you have a mix of style. Geek with dirty.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. When you have like when I have a certain concept art or something like that, and I sit there and work on it, and I'm like, wait until it's finally done, like the new Demon Ghost one.
Yeah.
And then I'll show somebody, and I'm like, what are you thinking that? They're like, this is crazy, and I'm like, great, because I've already written all this other stuff, so now I feel validated in the process, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a cool feeling. I think with like what you're talking about too, adding other people who have other professions though,
Yes.
that's dope.
Yes.
You know, like them jumping with Fortege and then just unleashing their power. Eventually, I would love to get to that point where we can jump with an animation team and just let them do their thing and just feed them as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
They went crazy on the
say
visuals
that,
with this,
like,
even
characters
cinematography
smoking
wise.
cigarettes,
Insanely
instead of having,
good
3D
quality
smoke,
work.
Being simulated by 3D tools. It's actually 2D drawn, frame by frame, and gets this almost cartoony effect.
In fact, I start to do this 2D mix and 3D since 20 years with music video.
On est en train de maltraiter.
For me, it's a new way to do animation. It's not anime, it's not full CG, it's a mix of everything.
Are you feeling good about it's an interview right now.
He doesn't want to get caught in the crossfires.
I met Arnaud in a party. Arnaud was doing fun, cool music video with no money.
Je faisais de l'animation, mais c'était tout le temps un peu expérimental. En multimédia, en stop motion, mais souvent avec une grosse partie quand même live action.
Cheers.
Ask Pascal a little bit.
As what? Maybe another day.
A little bit drunk, maybe it's gonna be easier.
I met Pascal, he was the best guy for doing character in Paris.
When I was a kid, my dream was to make comic books or work on, for Marvel and stuff like that. I like characters. I like you can bring personality,
nice.
bring story.
Brazil.
Gorillas.
I
Gorillas.
think back then I just
Gorillas,
found these
yeah.
tests
Got mixed
that
up.
you do where you could go like, man, like this looks different. This doesn't look like the typical expensive Hollywood animation production. This just looks like very French.
Looks like
Looks French.
I think he liked the mood because it was
I guess like how people still consider like animation to be Japanese.
lighting with flair.
Oh, like anime?
Yeah. Instead of like having Korean
like
now
live
or
action movie.
Chinese and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's a very
New anime
unique
come.
approach to camera, making you feel like there's a person filming whatever's happening. There was an imperfection that could only be human in how it moved and how it felt.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
Glad they cut that.
To be fair, the first answer when I went to the right leadership was like, I think we should make a TV show about our characters that is the highest budget ever spent on an animated series. It's gonna be great. The first answer was no, get out of the office.
That was like a, oh crap. Like, Christian has showed up with those like bold ideas and bold asks before, but this one was such a leap from sort of music video to like full animated show. It's so unbelievably daunting. And in the back of my mind, I'm just going, how am I going to talk Christian out of this? Like, how am I going to help him realize that like we're jumping the shark here?
And then I came back and said, okay, give me
Jumping the
like $2,000. And they're like, okay, fine.
Jumping the shark
so
is
we just started,
crazy.
doing some concept art. It was like, okay, this looks really cool, right? Yeah, this looks pretty cool.
I thought it was a great idea, but I also knew how difficult it was to pull something like this off. We have something called the video game curse, which is very few games have adapted into film and television well.
One of the things that's really true that I think every creative can relate to is a lot of great creative ideas, they're fragile. They start off as a dream and an idea and a vision, and they
Cut this man in the middle of it. They're spitting too much. First of all, what they're saying about video game adaptations. If you guys know of some great video adaptations do you guys think deserve to be mentioned, then definitely post that in the comments. If you guys know some shitty adaptations, definitely post that in the comments. So I'm interested to see what your guys' take is on it, because yeah, I think we definitely have our takes and things that we've talked about in the group, you know what I mean?
For sure.
As far as things that shouldn't have been made, or, I mean, hey, it was made and a lot of people didn't like it, but we liked it, you know, so. And then the adaptation into an animation is one thing, but then adaptation to live action is a whole nother. You know, when it comes to the anime movies and shit like that.
I've been very disappointed with a couple of them.
Yeah, it's been wild. So that's cool that they're touching on that. We're actually just smashing through this. We're at 17 minutes out of 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're saying so much deep shit that I'm like, it's hard because I want to say so much stuff because I have so much input on this. Like, I almost wish I could just go to like Riot Forge, or I guess not Riot Forge, just Riot Studios, and just kind of sit in and just throw some ideas around, because I feel like we do that so much. Like you were saying earlier, just the two of us just talking about some things, or just a couple of people, it would be crazy to kind of open that up to like a wider audience, which I guess that's what we're doing with the YouTube channel, and hopefully that blossoms into other things. We also go to conventions and shit like that. You know, we just recently came from California, actually. San Jose. And it's always cool to like bring your project out and have people check it out and shit like that, and give their opinions and whatnot, or just, you know, it's the first time they're getting introduced to it. So.
And I think I can add on that from like the comic book aspect to like the live action stuff, because if we've got a couple of people that came to our stands and asked and said, hey, why don't you do a cosplay of Ghost, him walking around the convention? But then you thought about it, and I thought it was a good idea, but then it kind of like thought about it some more and pondered about it, and it's like, would really anybody care who this person was? Would they even think this person was actually in a comic book? They wouldn't know. So it was a good idea, but it was kind of the fact that we weren't known, or we're still not known right now, but in the near future, for sure, we would love and appreciate the people that read these comic books to go and cosplay them. But for now, for us to just do it on ourselves, it just wouldn't make no sense. So I think for them to go and have the people do a whole animation production of a video game concept, they were not scared, but the idea of it, like they said, it would take so much time and so much money.
Yeah, just cautious of the time.
Very, very, very cautious. So
yeah.
And then it's just, especially with like their baby, like, yeah, this is our baby, this is our thing, this is our gem and jewel that's, you know, still making us and helping us like grow bigger in the company.
Yeah, like they said, it's a big risk, you know what I mean? Because you put it out there and then someone sees it, and then that damages the whole IP of the whole brand.
Yes.
And with all of these different characters, like I said, we have characters that take place in the superhero world, like Omega Ghost, and then we have characters, and then we have characters that take place in the fantasy world, like Neutropia. This is actually on Amazon, that's why it's like comic or graphic novel form. But like, it's weird because originally when we created the Omega Ghost, it was live action first, and I played the character of Ghost, and he played Topka, and we had a bunch of different people. We all do parkour and martial arts. Actually, I should put some videos up here. We do like parkour and martial arts and, you know, kickboxing, all kinds of training stuff. So we're training all the time, running, flipping, and it was cool, but we couldn't accurately represent everything the way that it wanted to. And a lot of these characters are based off of either us or our identities that we might possess, maybe not us directly. So it's hard because when it goes from one person's head, like the creators, and then you give it to someone else like Fortige, I feel like that translation barrier also is just a very difficult thing. So I applaud them for taking the chance. I do know for Christian, when he decided that he wanted to make a live action, there's no saying, there is no, we're not.
He was not taking no.
It's just about how long is it going to take for me to convince you that we should make this, or what is the right timing? Because just like with Omega Ghost, it's like, I would love to do that, but it has to be at a time where we can afford like a quality suit. So when people are walking around, it looks just like the quality of the comic book when we first put that out, and people are like, "Oh, I feel like I know this character," you know. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
You got anything else in it?
I don't.
Okay. Let's jump back in this.
Haven't been fleshed out necessarily.
Okay, it was a little bit more. Now we can explore some 3D models and everything. Like $5,000. They're like, okay. And
I don't remember getting any of this money.
Anyway, not to linger on this very unimportant.
You got $2,000.
All right, this is our first behind the scenes in the writer's room. Alex, what year is it?
Short hair.
1922. And while we were developing the story, we also started working with Fortiche on these little spikes, you know, of like, hey, what would it look like if Vi was just in her apartment in Piltover, and she's like venting about how Powder, her little sister, you know, is just always messing. You know, it was just a test of like, hey, like, can we even do animation where acting feels good?
I think when they put sticky notes on the wall, that's more for like a team setting. Because I know I have a lot of things that I'll put on paper. I think it's nice to just put it out there like that. I think that's why they do that.
I kind of hope this loses steam because this is so unbelievably ambitious. Like, I don't know how in the world we're going to pull this off.
This man's preying on his own downfall.
Yes.
That's when I said, okay, could you give me like, I think it was like 65 grand or so.
Damn. Big jump.
Yeah.
Big jump.
Huge jump.
Ooh. Oh, is this to make the pilot?
And there was this fight scene, sort of this
Oh, yeah, it
test
is.
with Jace and Vi on a rooftop.
Jace versus Vi would have been crazy.
It was so sick, just in terms of how the characters were expressed and how they came to life. Like all those little incremental tests they were just like, yeah, we need more of this.
That's dope. Oh man. This animation test wasn't out before the docuseries, was it? Chat. Let me know. Damn.
That I'm probably serious about this project. I said to them, well, I mean, you have concept art now for the characters, for environments, you have 3D models, you have animation test, you have material that we've had developed for the pilot.
Yeah.
And I was like, are we gonna do this or not?
Damn.
I sort of think
that
about
pilot
it
looks
like,
pretty dope.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, not knowing what we're getting into was an advantage because
I think I
if
have
we
seen
did
that
know,
clip. I think it's
we
like
would have said,
circulating
there's no way.
online. It's probably on YouTube.
It was beautiful, right? But it was just a small snippet of what the full series would be, and there were so many questions about like,
Jane.
well, what is the
They
full
definitely
story?
had a bunch of producers
To
for
me, the
this, for
stakes
sure.
are really high because we want to be respectful of the players' time and trust. I'd for sure much rather not do a show than releasing.
But I think they all understood that we just had to try.
Oh, Mel?
I mean, like, this was
I'm glad they didn't go with those looks over there.
to make that bet. You know, otherwise, it's only gonna be ever a theory.
Fortiche was 5 people. So we had to build a studio of
5 people,
now
yeah.
200, 250, 300 people, which is like, how do you build an animation studio?
See, when you're
You know,
doing
we're a game
your
company, how
shit
do
the
you do
right
that?
way, you
At
only
that
need a
point,
good solid, like just solid 5 people.
3, 4.
Yeah. Other companies will reach out to you and be like, hey, let's work
Le
together.
pari pour Christian et Riot, c'était est-ce qu'on était capable de sortir 5 heures, 6 heures de film. Et non plus, on ne savait pas.
When I met Christian, I remember him talking about the character arcs and what's gonna happen in that episode, and you know, I've already that in mind, and it's gonna be like so emotional. And I was like, dude, you're crazy. We haven't even started the first minute of the show. I don't think he was realizing what he was getting into. But,
Even that shrug, huh? I don't care.
He was a fool.
I love
but the excitement he had when he was talking about the show made the difference to me.
Even when there are a lot of question marks and obvious concerns, and on paper it's not supposed to work because, you know, the experience isn't there and the resume isn't there, like that's precisely when it's worth jumping into the deep end of the pool and learning how to swim.
Il y avait plus de peur pendant le test
Buddha agrees.
que finalement quand on a commencé à faire le pilote. C'est là où on a pu mettre tout ce qu'on avait un peu en nous, toutes nos références, où il y a eu ce côté, ouais, enfin le côté geek, grâce à Christian et Riot, quand on a vu qui nous laissait les clés.
It's 2016, man. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's no easy task, man. Oh yeah, the alleyway fight.
Yeah, episode 1.
Dang. Jeez.
That's crazy. I think when you know you have something too, though, it makes it more worth it to take those chances. When you're not really sure about your vision or what you're doing, I think it's harder to take those leaps because internally you know you're not ready to do it yet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of those timing things, like you can be, but patience.
Basically, we had the pilot, wrapped up more or less, and now was the time to start working on the rest of the first season.
We had an entire arc for the first season, filled with moments, lots of art, lots of exploration, different locations, different characters, and we were already feeling the pressure of the sort of pipeline rolling.
Damn, it's
These
crazy.
episodes take a tremendous amount of time
They did
to animate, and once the episode is in various stages of animation, changes are possible, but any change is tremendously disruptive in terms of the amount of time and resources it takes to so you're kind of locked in.
Yeah, I just realized when they showed that first animation, that was just an animation test. That wasn't even. I'm thinking it was the pilot.
wow, yeah.
No, that was just the animation because they're putting so much into these episodes that they did all the concept. They did the storyboarding, which probably took fucking months to a year to, if not longer, just to say, hey, is this a good story to tell? And this is an area that we've, me personally, I've neglected because I'm working on all aspects. Like when we did our live action Neutropia, I'm working with the writing, with the creation, directing essentially, and then going into the pre-production. I'm like listing everything out, planning shoot days, things like that. And then going into filming it, I'm actually doing the cinematography, and then along with Mac, along with a couple other people, hands-on doing different things. But my point being, like mentally, I'm splitting myself up between so many different roles, and then going to editing, and then jumping in lighting, and then designing costumes and stuff like that. And that's just all really pre-production work, it's all just like before the film gets started. I feel like sometimes people miss how big of a thing that is. I miss how it is, because I'm spreading myself so thin that you realize humanly possible, it's going to take years, year to years, if not more, regardless. It's just about, like they said, expanding the team and knowing when to like delegate and all that good stuff. And I think that's hard for a lot of people because you underestimate how far you just keep sketching it. Like, for example, doing that animation test, that was $65,000. So when you do something this big, imagine how much the pilot was. And they're still like, oh, we might change something, and then staying flexible when it is time to change stuff. Like, that's really the hard part. Yeah, it's hard. I've definitely created some things that I'm like, this is amazing. This has to go out. And then people are like, I don't know about that. And I'm like, the fuck do you mean you don't know? And then at the end of the day, luckily having that team and people around you and stuff like that, they bring it all back together. So I could imagine something like this where it's like there's so much fear, of fucking shit up.
But then you got those people like they said, nerdy, geeky side of them, that were like they wanted the anticipation, they had the freedom to kind of like do what they wanted to do with these characters and how they wanted them to move and their personalities and stuff, which was pretty cool. Yeah. So I feel like that's what also brought them and more of the people on board in their studio to kind of like help them along this just production and the journey, which is pretty dope. So
yeah, they probably just sped up as time went, kept going down. It always works like that. When the more you get down the process down and you start scaling, you create like a prototype or whatever the case is, show everyone how it works, and then everyone's okay, cool, that's what we're making, perfect, and then you can go from there. So yeah, man, good stuff. Looks like we're just about done with this. A couple more minutes.
So yeah, at some point there was a meeting on my calendar, and I went to Brian's office, and there was like a bunch of people in there.
He basically he called me and told me like, hey, I just talked to Brandon and like everyone.
It was basically like an intervention meeting.
And by the way, that's what we do for everything, even in game. if we're like on the cusp of launching and we think it's not right, like we'll stop, we'll hold, we'll pivot, we'll cancel.
Just a little what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with everything creatively, you know, you're always kind of waiting for that hammer to fall. We wanted to make sure the story that players got lived up to their expectations. If we couldn't do that, then we shouldn't do that.
The consensus was, you don't have the story yet, and it's not going to work, you know?
That's crazy, man. The stress. I'm getting PTSD right now thinking of some of these film sets and things that we've done. Yeah, I remember doing Neutropia. It's like you get into a project and everything's just moving so fast. It's like, okay, we have this film date set next weekend. You know, this is what's going to happen, and then the anticipation of like, okay, and I think Neutropia, you know, we didn't even have 100 people on that project. We had like around 30.
It was about easily 30 to
40. Yeah,
either 30 to 40 people.
Yeah.
Because we had people at one location that we started, which was here.
Yeah,
and then we had to take transportation over to there, and then more people showed up at location.
Yeah.
So then by the whole time that was going on, we still were going through what lines was going to get cut, what we're still going to keep. We were going to different locations in the area we were at, where we were going to shoot, what was first, what was last.
Yeah.
And not only that, we also had to we had the climate, we had the climate, we had the snow, we had the whole
snowstorms
from
all kinds of things.
The beginning of the day to all night. We were shooting.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
it was
making changes the whole time.
Yeah, it was 45 degrees warm to almost like 30 degrees at night.
We had little kids out there freezing. It was wild. And it's all stressful, you know what I mean?
For sure it was.
As we're going things, and this is like the beauty of like sometimes doing things on a low scale, nowhere near compared to like how big they are. You know, luckily the nice part is you have more people and you have more eyes, so you can take the time off. You just have to be more prepared before you start, and you have to know your process. When you're doing low budget like filmmaking, like we were doing, it's like you can jump around and fill into a lot of spots, and that's where like, you know, once we got done with Neutropia, you know, I looked at it, me personally, and I was like, the writing is very average, you know what I mean? And I mean, granted, some of the writing, and I was the one who wrote it, you know what I mean? But it was one of those honest takes where I looked at it and I was like, out of all the things, visuals, direction, this and that, like the concept was great, you know, and we built off of it, obviously, and wrote, you know, a bunch of comic books and graphic novels and all kinds of stuff, and sold a bunch of copies. But like the writing of just that story was off, and it's funny that they're talking about that same thing, like you don't have the story down, because story is just so critical,
and that's the backbone of everything.
It's literally the backbone,
your skeleton,
right? You can have mid,
you can even you don't even have to have characters. You got to have a story, and if you don't even have something to go off of, or frame of reference to just like have something attached to, it's like they said, you don't have nothing. They were gonna cut it from the looks of it. They were just gonna cut the project completely.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what they do in the next part, because I'm glad that obviously it still came out, so obviously they're going to figure out a way to turn it around. Sure. And like I was saying with Christian earlier, like there is no like, no, we can't do this. It's just about when's the right time to start this, because sometimes when it comes to presenting it, like that's the big thing, is like the time that you have to present it, that's what makes or breaks the project. Like anytime before that, as you're working on it, like I've been in the, you know, we're submitting to film festivals, and it's like I have to send this off by tonight, and I'm making edits, and I'm going back and recording voiceovers and taking out people's lines in post and all kinds of crazy things, you know. So I can only imagine how the rest of the this series goes. So I'm excited, man. It's interesting, and I mean that's enough. It feels like they already had that with their cinematic trailers and shit like that. It feels like, but I guess when you're doing something different, it's important to bring that in.
Yeah.
What is truth but a survivor story? Facts.
Managing Fortiche is like, sometimes I feel like a band manager. Like, guys, you're doing whatever you want, but I want you on stage at this time for the concert and the gig. And they're always on time at the end. So you have to trust them. So we are in 2017.
I thought that was her hair
everybody
at
is
first.
working really
All
hard
the
to
rapping.
deliver the pilots. And then we had a discussion with Riot, explaining to us that we're not happy with the script, with episode 2, episode 3. At the end of the call, we were like, have they really said that? I think we have misunderstood them. When we arrived in LA, and then it was, hey guy, yes, we want to do a pause on the production, put everything on hold. We're like, oh my gosh, that was true.
Jeez.
Damn, and yeah, it's rough because you have that timeline like we talked about last time. So they're already getting started. They're probably well into first episode, however far. Yeah. And now you have to go back and essentially just redesign everything.
Yep.
I guess that was pretty much at the point where they had drafted together a couple of scripts and sort of a show bible for the entire season. The next thing I know, Christian
Bible.
mysteriously gets
So that's a common term.
Meeting, and then
they use it in a lot
like
of comic book universes.
A strange
and stuff.
intervention where a bunch of other writers basically told him that it sucks.
We need that.
It was such a blow to the team to just feel like
printed at least.
Man, we're being told to stop completely and potentially even find different showrunners, different writers for the whole thing.
You've been killing yourself, to try and make it work and try and figure it out, and your first thought, of course, is just like, is it dead?
We were really only able to hire all these animators with the promise that there would be a full season to work on, because they're very, very talented, and you really only get them if you have something kind of worth committing to, like a multi-year project.
And so we just kind of had this feeling like we're gonna have to tell all these people that we just hired, they have to be like, which just, I don't know, it's just like the worst thought.
I think Alex and I just felt like we suck. Like we failed,
Christian's a tortured artist who can't let himself not do something great. Like he will will it into existence because he will beat himself up and lose sleep and go crazy.
There were a lot of times during my career at Ride so far where I needed someone like Brandon or Mark to explore some pretty wild ideas. Where a lot of people would say, like, no one in the video game industry has full-time composers, like we can just hire someone from the outside as a freelancer to make some music for us. Or why would we make music videos? That's insane, like video game companies don't make music videos. Back then it was Mark and Brandon who kind of saw the idea and like how awesome this could be. And they took bets on, me being able to figure it out. So then in the meeting, everyone left. It was just Brandon and me, and basically, I think Brandon kind of took like the moment to kind of tell me, hey, like, we'll figure it out. Like, we trust you. Like, we'll figure it out. And I just started crying.
Christian's biggest fear is letting players down. He crushes himself over it. It's actually painful for those closest to him to sort of watch, and it gives you so much respect and appreciation and ultimately trust in what he decides to take responsibility and ownership for.
Hello everyone. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about our decision to delay the further production of the follow-up episodes of Arcane.
I remember I think I recorded like 16 different versions of this video because I just always was just kind of sitting there like,
and I wanted to give you guys some more information about it, why, what our plan is, and so on. I'm sure it's going down from...
I like this reaction shot. Click.
We did not show this. The question was, if we start with that, everybody will cry, everybody will jump out of the window.
I finally made a version of the video that felt like was okay, and I sent it to them, only to learn a few weeks later that they were like, yeah, we never showed it to anyone because you just look so depressed, you look like you want to kill yourself, like, how could we ever show that to anyone?
So it was like a harsh time.
Jeez. Man.
So we had to let the team go, which is always very painful. You're not sure they're going to be able to come back because if they go to another production, you might lose them.
We knew that we wouldn't have work for them for the months to come. So we started talking to different teams at Right and started asking people, hey, is there anything we can do, like a music video or anything that could just keep, the lights on at Fortiche. We talked to the esports team and there was a desire to make a music video.
That makes more sense. That makes sense why they have so much music videos wrapped around League of Legends stuff. That's so like dope.
Became the Rise music video, and then we started talking to the music team, and they were working on something like a crazy idea about a K-pop group.
Which, granted, they had a bunch of stuff already, but yeah, this is like what 2016. Yeah, 2016 is from Ford. They have a lot more production.
So they did 2 music videos with us, which I think are still some of the best, if not the 2 best, on our YouTube channel.
Thank God. Alex and I are shit at our jobs because if we hadn't taken that extra time to develop the story, the KDA Pop Stars music video and the Rise music video would have never happened.
Bon, ces deux clips
All the
nous
Rise,
permettent
yeah,
aussi de résoudre certains petits problèmes techniques qu'on pouvait avoir qu'on avait pu avoir sur le pilote.
But that last one,
un peu plus le style,
where everyone thought that was Faker, or that was Faker in it, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
That was Rise. We've seen that one. Because you had commented on that one.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, you were like, this must be. You had very good insight on that video, actually.
That's right.
We haven't watched any KDA though.
Yeah.
People recommended this one a lot. Which we are still bringing that, by the way. We're coming with music videos, which is so much content to get into.
I stepped foot in Piltover. I didn't have the benefits of a patron or a name. I simply believed in myself.
At that point, the idea was I had to replace myself as like the person in charge of figuring out the story. Of course, it was me and Alex, but I was responsible. We just knew we had to hire someone who's experienced as a showrunner and as writers and that kind of stuff. And that's what we tried to do. Except we couldn't really find anyone. 6 years ago, if you pitched that a video company was gonna do like an animated series that is looking for like drama screenwriters, no one really showed up.
That makes sense. They had a bad reputation.
Or it's just, people were in for the wrong reasons, where it's like, well, I mean, League of Legends and Riot is big, but they didn't really care about the characters.
That artwork is crazy.
So we were looking for quite a while.
Oh, Annie, that's crazy also. Wait a minute.
Wow.
Wait.
That looks pretty dope. Wow.
This is insane.
No one really showed up.
Okay, sorry, y'all. My inner nerd just bursted out for a minute, and I was like, wait.
People were in for the wrong
That
reasons.
is a crazy fucking canvas.
Riot is big.
That canvas is dope.
Oh my god, I want that. How do I get something like this? I'd love to create something like this with all the characters from SNi Universe, actually. That'd be fucking amazing. I'm stealing this. I'm sorry, Riot. I'm stealing this idea. I'm writing a note right now. I will be doing something.
For it. He's got it.
I will be doing something like this. I'm sorry. Shout out to you.
Also, shout out to the people that did the actual concept art for all these characters. They're very, very good.
Yeah, man.
They even got the people that were working in there. Look. That on the computers right there.
Oh, the actual
artists.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That's sick. They got them on the keyboards down there.
That is insane.
They got a delivery pizza person right there.
Some random dude that always brought him pizza. That's crazy.
Oh, that's pretty bad. That's pretty cool.
Okay. Alright, we continue. Actually,
definitely like
I'm lying.
That big
one. Quite a while, and at some
Annie
point,
right there. That's crazy
Yo,
detail.
That's like real hair.
Maybe we'll just
real it's a natural.
Try again, but be less shitty.
Wow.
And then it was just start over, like kind of look what we do. That's when we started talking to showrunners, like who could we bring in to just be an advisor.
That's when we
That's a good
found
idea.
Monica Mazer. She was a showrunner. She worked on Lost, was someone who was really passionate about mentoring people, and she really helped us find the right way to realize our vision, without necessarily being like, here's what you have to do. More just about here's all about the process of how to craft a season, how to think about developing characters.
And then we hired, a bunch of writers who'd worked in various capacities in TV. So, Amanda was one of those writers.
I know. It's so good. It's so good.
You're like always trying to get into the heads of your characters in any way you can. I did have one of the writers teach me how to shoot a gun, like a sniper gun, right before I was gonna write Caitlin's episode last year.
I feel it. It really be that deep. I've done all kinds of random things just on the count of I need to know how this functions.
We're in my house, and I have a little office here where I do my writing.
Nice. Can you show me that?
Sure. Through the kitchen.
She's like, yes, you're gonna come to my office in my room.
Into my nook.
My house.
I have these lights I turn
right around the corner
to sort of inspire me. There we go.
They'll have scripts that they'll send over to you as kind of a sample of their work. And Amanda, I think with hers, it was comic book video game scientist, and her story was about a future world where we colonize the moon. And I was like, this seems like it could be a good fit for us.
I would prefer not to have a punching bag in my living room, but that's just what we do right now. So I actually never thought about how my kung fu translates to learning how Vi's a fighter.
No, this is so valid.
But there's a fight scene in episode 5 of season 1, which is the episode I wrote.
You wrote
One
that?
of the things I'm like so proud of is it's like between two women with like a different body type, different, like both like really muscular. They're doing moves that you haven't necessarily seen women do before on screen.
I noticed this.
Definitely not.
It's a very tough fight.
Yeah, double drop kick.
Fight scenes as like being just like another talking drama scene. Like there has to be a turn, there has to be motivations. You have to learn something new about the character in the fight that you didn't know before.
I do want to take this moment actually to touch on the fact that like her having all this stuff. You notice her house is all over the place, and there's often times where like I'll put things like all over the place, and Mackie will go on like a business trip. You know, he'll go out to like Europe or something like that, and he'll come back and
for
there'll
weeks.
I have like a mattress in the living room, just sleeping in the living room or some shit like that. So very, very real. For those of you who are a part of our memberships, actually. If you check, we actually dropped a video on there thanking everybody, like an intro video. And we kind of give like a little bit of a tour of our space outside of this angle you guys usually just see right here. But if you are a membership, I thought you were like...
No, just right here.
I did
not DMX.
A lot of wrestling lately. But yeah, if you've seen that behind the scenes, you'll see like we have like, you know, workout equipment in here. We have like... fucking, I'm not gonna spoil all the stuff, but we have like inside.
We got 12 people in the other room right now waiting for us.
With the clipboards. No, we got all kinds of stuff. You know, just to keep us fresh and like focused, and so we can go get our energy back, be creative, and then come back over here. So
connect them neurons and shoot some off.
Exactly. So
getting motivation like she does with the lights.
Yeah, just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Give her your regards.
The lights are crazy. We got lights everywhere in this house. Colored lights in every room.
Yeah.
And then of course she's saved by another woman. 3 women in a fight scene. It's fucking dope. So
Amanda just has a really honest voice in her dialogue that is just really grounded emotionally. I remember this moment when Alex and I were really wrestling with the last words that Jinx was saying to Vi in season 1. And then like Amanda took the script and solved it in like, I don't know, an hour.
I thought maybe you could love me like you used to. Even though I'm different.
I think having those different perspectives, male and female, you get like a very universal feel to it.
For sure.
Translates with everyone.
Here's to the new us.
Amanda just wrote that, and Alex and I were just like, yep, that. And we just couldn't do that, you know?
I think the biggest change from the way that we were looking at it before was it was very plot heavy, right? It's very focused on kind of like, what's the problem that has to get solved? Who's going to fight who? What I think most improved after kind of working with these writers was sort of like the emotional story for the characters.
I'm quite proud of the cold open too, the like whole beginning of the season with the bridge.
We've been talking a lot about internal conflicts and stuff recently, so.
The cold open used to be the cold open from episode 3 when Silco was drowning. I sort of went out on a limb being like, so guys, I know you hired me to help out with the show and whatever, but you need to change the pilot. That's a lovely poetic image, right? But it wasn't telling the story of the series, which is these 2 sisters being torn apart.
That's when I came in as a CEO, taking this big role with the idea of becoming a multi-game developer and a multi-game publisher.
Sounds like she really just focused everything, really like, it sounded like there's a lot of pieces everywhere.
To multiple games. And then there was this little curveball, and by the way, we have this TV show, which probably is going to cost us, a massive 9-digit budget. There is a lot of risk in this.
To be completely honest, Niccolo and I were always on like completely opposite spectrums. He's a business person. He's someone who's just extremely smart in like a rational way. He doesn't really let himself get carried away by like his emotions or like by his own personal attachment to anything. And I'm the opposite. I always have opinions. I'm always emotionally attached to the stuff that I work on. I'm an artiste, I guess.
Christian, actually, I remember I bring him in my office to say, hey, we've decided if we're gonna fund you for a full season. He had done the pilot, and we paused, and I told him like we're not gonna fund a full season for Arcane.
Damn.
Jeez.
And then I told him like I think it's really important you understand why, because you and I can be on a different page, but it's very important you understand where I'm coming from. And the reason I'm not going to validate you to move to a full season is because I'm going to allow you to move to multiple seasons. And so I kind of trolled him a bit.
He pulled a bit of a prank.
And I think he was really pissed at me for this.
How big a deal is this?
Definitely
That's great.
Gave me the trust that I needed to develop Arcane the way that Fortiche and our team at Riot needed to do it, which was not the easy way, but like really this like pursuit of like, hey, this is what we think our audience wants, and it's ambitious and crazy, but we need you to trust us, and he did.
You need to stay committed to players because nothing's going to be easy. There will be many moments where you want to give up. I know Christian went through this multiple times, we went through this multiple times, and you need to have the grit and the courage to continue for players.
As we were looking at trying to scale a lot more, and then we had season 1 in production, and we started to think about how are we going to do the first development of season 2 at the same time. That's when we started looking for someone to help figuring out the production scale a bit more.
It was tough because we couldn't find the right culture fit. A lot of people kind of shied away from like, hey, this isn't normal TV, this isn't normal animation. I think I'm just gonna go, insert any animation studio out there, right? But finally, one time I got connected with a woman named Melinda Dilger.
Hey guys, come on in. Welcome to Casa de Dilger.
Mi casa, su casa.
I work here because of COVID. This is Willie Nelson. He's the boss of
Arcane
Arcane
right
right here. He's in all the meetings. He loves it. He loves his job. Yes.
I just love talking to her. She had such a warm energy. She just also had experience. Like I mentioned some of the issues that we were dealing with, and she seemed unfazed by it.
This is where all my meetings happen. It's very exciting.
What's on that wall?
This is where I burn off my energy, and I got that when I worked on Mary Poppins Returns, which is kind of cool.
Out these things, huh?
I remember sitting down all of the stakeholders, and I think I literally told them, you better not fuck this up. I like her, she's awesome. If you fuck this up, I'm gonna kill you.
I was producing by the time I was 24. That was when I was really young. I worked on Darkwing Duck. That was my very first animated show to be on as a production assistant. I was working on Goof Troop, Aladdin. I won an Annie Award. That's kind of a big deal right here. This is very proud of this. Very nice. I know whenever people tell me, they're like, oh my gosh, I watched that as a child. I'm like, oh, I'm so old. It's okay. It's okay. Now everybody looks at me and they say, we're so glad we have somebody with so much experience on the show, which really equates to old, but it's okay. I can take it, Riot's a very young company.
And I am rolling.
Yeah, Riot really is.
I think you've had enough, mate.
Yeah, the team health when I first started wasn't so great. Everyone was like, I was like, man, this team, they need some loving. They need some loving.
Making the show that we kind of set out with Arcane, with the right designs for these characters that work in our IP.
COVID happened.
The pursuit of creative work is complex. If your expectation is that you don't work on something creatively where
6
you're
feet apart
gonna have
and stay away from each other.
No pressure or
you guys
no
remember that?
feeling of like being
I hated it.
times,
Jeez.
then you're working on something the world is gonna forget.
By then, I think I was super exhausted because I was like 3 years into the project or something. I know Christian was exhausted, Alex was beat, and like she brought in that new energy and just sort of this like, yep, let's pick it up and let's go.
How are you guys feeling? Are you exhausted? Right? Or are you okay?
3 years into the project.
From what I was hearing, it was just taking them a long time to kind of get their bearings. And let's face it, Fortiche, our animation partner studio in Paris, they had also never produced a series. So you have a bunch of newbies trying to figure this out, and lo and behold, it is really a difficult process, and it's a challenging one, even for those of us that have been in the business for a really long time.
You missed a really long, important strategy meeting that answers all the questions of the universe.
That was a rosebud meeting.
For Riot and beyond. The rosebud meeting.
Melinda was always someone that is extremely inspiring to the team and creating a team atmosphere where it's okay when things are tough, as long as you just kind of believe in the team and have the right dream together.
Like, well, you can get
That is
everything
very
in your-
important.
Yes.
Oh, gee. Oh, God, you can't.
See, you guys didn't think you'd be on behind the scenes, and here you are. There's Eric Bergman, our post supervisor. Hi, Eric's used to all the publicity. Eric, you're on mute. See, this is what we do every Zoom call.
Hello.
Somebody's always on mute. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I just came in and kind of rolled up my sleeves and went from department to department, just trying to get everybody together and get to know each individual on the team as a person.
This is a French studio and there's no
Oh, dang, she went all the way to France.
It's like there's two teams, the beer team.
To have a beer.
To have a beer and talk to the people.
And that's part of building team trust. And then you can start to actually solve the problems. Dig deep.
And she's
That's
dope
what
for
you
that.
gotta do.
Yeah, it's necessary when you're at this level of business too.
So
Like,
this is our production schedule.
and be able to sit
in
and face
March
to face
of
with people and have those
2020, that's when this
conversations.
started.
Yeah.
And then it
And
goes
build
all
trust.
the way through the last episode. Because this is the first series Riot's ever done, a lot of things are getting figured out and developed as we go along in production. So it's taking a little bit longer than it typically would on a television series that's all thought out. Everything's figured out way ahead of time. This is like, how can we make this more unique and more special?
Damn, that's a very good point. As far because at first initially when they were talking about the whole 3 years into production, I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, that's a long ass time. But I'm thinking about when a movie would come out, it takes like a couple years for production, if not longer. Whenever whoever's gonna do Marvel or whatever movie's gonna come out. Yeah, because like I said, the pre-production of just coming up with the concept, thinking about everything, getting inspired by all these elements, writing things in a big journal, notebook, document, and then starting to formulate it together, and then bring once you have something solid that people are like, this is good. That alone takes 3 months. Not to mention bringing people in, what's the art style going to look like, all that good stuff, like the actual physical parts of it. And then you start writing the script. It's going to take another 3 to 6 months. So yeah, shit adds up very, very quick. You know what I mean? And sometimes I forget that because we're like constantly growing and moving and changing as we go through. You know what I mean? So like I'll plan out 6 comic books and then start writing one, start kind of writing the third, write the 6th one, like part of it. And then I don't think about how much time it takes. Like Neutropia we did in webtoon format, and we put out almost essentially like 7, 8 comic books on webtoons that I didn't realize it translated like that. And then we went back and I start really dialing in on the writing process and like how to shape everything. And now that you can see what type of story is being told, then I start adding comics to the beginning, adding scenes to the middle and stuff like that. And then everything got fleshed out, and then we start doing the comic book form. And then after the comic book form, then eventually went to the graphic novel, which is the actual full fully fleshed out. And I'm thinking the webtoon version came out or started coming out 3.5 years ago, which is crazy when you think back. Yeah, and we have 2 graphic novels out right now. 3rd one's on the way, so it's fucking crazy, man. It's a long process. It takes a lot of work. A lot of times I feel like nowadays when stories and things come out and then people just shit on it, I'm like, damn, regardless of if something didn't go the right way or if it wasn't perfect, and I think we have high standards now. These people are putting a lot of effort and energy into these productions. Literally years of people's lives, actors, writers,
everything.
You know what I mean? So it's just
time. And time you can't get back, and a lot of people, I bet you, was devastated when they got that news where they had to stop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see Christian hey, we don't need to stop. Let's just find another alley to kind of like help all these people that are here now and have them work on something else. And kind of going on with this, it also reminded me of the time we were doing our shoots with the Omega Ghost live action series. And we only had me and you and one other person doing cinematography. So when we went over to Neutropia, we needed more resource and more people that kind of had a different vision and a different kind of eye for cinematography. And that's when we grouped up with other people like
Nook and Note,
and they came
in the wheelhouse that were potentially going to be sacrificed. But I think going from winning a couple of different awards locally to end up we have like over a dozen awards
nationally
on the Neutropia film, and everywhere from like Australia, Rome, New York, LA. So definitely couldn't have reached that point. So man, this is crazy. Them bringing these extra people on too, just as a testament to what we're saying and just how much it's grown. The project's grown from that beginning animation test to where it is now, being one of the best shows out. So
than any other show on television. Let's take our time and do it right. And if it takes us a little bit longer to get those scripts done, that's what we do.
There's a natural balance of power, and you just gave everybody nukes. Congratulations, you fucked up, right?
This is the thing that's always been all fuzzy to me, is just kind of how we end this episode with the Victor Singe thing.
Yes, I would love to bring Vi back into Caitlin's mind in this episode in some way. I wrote like something about missing Vi that I have not solved yet either.
And to kind of like
I love how
take
excited
the IP
people are
that's
in this
there from the games
especially
and
like how
turn
new
it
they
into something
Yeah.
really awesome for television is a challenge. They're going to spend more money than most people to get it there, but they're doing it because they love the players and they want the players to be happy. And it's special. It's like you don't just see them as these little tiny things walking across the screen. By putting them on television, they have soul and they're deep and you can relate to them.
Radio silence.
One of the
Everyone's
biggest
so
questions we
focused.
had though was, can this be sustained over 6 hours? Will people watch something like this and fall into
6
the
hours?
immersion of the
That's
animation?
all the series.
I'm just saying, like, that's nothing compared to the amount of content that people are consuming on League. It's crazy.
Mesmerize an audience by staring at two characters, not saying a word. It's all between them and the air and the emotions. We all want to take animation to this place of mature drama, subtlety and nuance, style and innovation, but it doesn't exist, and I think we together can do it.
Man, so many layers on this project.
Yeah.
So many layers. Okay, so first of all, shout out to everyone who recommended that we check out this Bridging the Rift series, because it definitely is doing the series justice. I feel like we're watching a whole nother series, you know what I mean, like on itself. I feel like I'm just watching a story about these creators trying to make a vision come to life. So yeah, it's amazing. Cinematography is great, music's great. The messages are great, the notes, everything. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
One of the best docuseries I think I might have seen, to be honest. So definitely inspired. I'm definitely about to go in this other room and start fucking writing, because I'm
He's already got
I got too many
notes right
notes,
now.
man. This got my brain going.
And it's
Feeling
also
inspired.
just the commitment and just the emotion. It's all raw. It's all there. Those are the people that are there to make this happen for, like they said, for the players, because in the end of the day, it's all about the people that love these characters and consume all these and spend all these hours and time playing as them. So the fact that they get to see these people have life, have emotion, and have all these things that you would never think they have in front of you is like, this is a dream come true. Because I know a lot of people that do cosplay would represent them and how those people would be, but the fact that the Arcane brings these people out and have and show them their emotions, what's going on, speaks beautifully about how they do it, and they do it so perfectly. So
yeah,
and it's just watching this is making me so anxiously waiting to watch Arcane season 2. So
yes, Arcane season 2.
It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, if you guys have been following our other League content and stuff like that, you see we've been going through the cinematics and music videos and trailers and everything like that, just so we can try to understand like the entire world of League and not just Piltover and Zon where Arcane takes place. So yeah, if you guys are interested in learning more stuff with us, we just went through videos exploring the origin of the planet itself, talking about Runeterra, the different regions all over the planet.
And who the Watcher is, and who are these Celestials?
Well, y'all pay grade.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah,
it goes that stuff. Deep, and the fact that I'm glad we kind of went and got to see that and kind of like see where Arcane takes place is like, I just thought when I first got into it was just Arcane was just League of Legends and this town was just it. And it's like, wait, what? No. So
So yeah, if you guys definitely want to expand on that, or if you want to watch season 2 with us, you watch it through, then come back with us. We have a great community. Everyone in this League community has been amazing. All the comments,
fantastic.
I can't wait to see all these League people go over to the Arcane season 2 and then just break down every episode and see how deep and philosophical we can get with this show. So if you guys want to see that, hit the comment, subscribe, or hit the subscribe button.
Hit that notification bell.
Yes,
because you'll get more videos the more that we drop.
Yes. And if you guys anybody's a creator, artist, video game developer, any of that stuff, I would like to know what you guys do down below in the comments as well. We do have a Discord and stuff like that where we're actively always creating different projects and
talking to other people that join too on our Discords.
Exactly. So we're creating with different artists and creators and things like that all the time, as well as just fans of the YouTube page and everything like that. I think our first League focus video just reached over like 100,000 views on that, so congratulations to the team. And we're slowly just building. That was like last month, I think, a month ago. And yeah, man, it's a great journey, as well as our comic books. We just did a lot of things. We've been doing a lot of things, man. Omega Ghost, I think, just got 20,000 views.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Last time I saw it, had like 8,000.
8,000? Okay,
that's the last time I saw it.
Somewhere between 10 and 20. I can't even remember because we just so many things. But yeah, we got this series. If you guys want to check this out, Omega Ghost. Or if you guys like...
It's blurred out.
Or if you guys like fantasy and connected universe stuff, we do have Neutropia right here. It is still blurred out. But you can look at it better in the description below on globalcomics.com. I think we have like 4 different series right now that are all going to eventually tie into... They all tie into each other already, but they're eventually going to cross a lot heavier. We have 3 or 4 other series that are dropping next year. Hopefully we can drop like 15 comics next year. So
it's a goal.
Yeah, big ambitious goals. And we have like 20 comics out right now, and then 2 graphic novels. So yeah, we are growing, and it's amazing. So all right, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in, and as always, have a good day.
Yes, much love. Peace.